So Dana, we have a lot of stuff going on.
Hey, we sure do. But before we get into that, everybody send us your email addresses. In return, we will send you back an MP3 of our latest new cool show.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to talk about, like misunderstood dictators, sharks,
Maybe some odd news stories and current events,
politics.
a little bit of history.
Yeah, and you can only find that stuff on the Dana and Travis Show.
That is correct.
So send us your email addresses,
And check out that Facebook page.
and we hope you enjoy the show.
Oh, yeah. Hey, this is Dana from the Dana and Travis Show. We'd like to thank all of our loyal fans. And if you have any suggestions or ideas for future show topics, you can email us at danaandtravishow@gmail.com, or you can contact us on Facebook or Twitter. Hope you enjoy the show.
You're listening to a Collapsar Digital Studios production. Live from Bluefield, Indiana, you're listening to the Dana and Travis Show.
Greetings and well wishes. I'm Dana,
And I'm Travis.
broadcasting to you live from Collapsar Digital Studios in Bloomfield, Indiana, bringing forth the knowledge of the universe in 60 minutes.
We hope you enjoy the show.
All right, welcome to the Dana and Travis Show, episode 14.
1-4.
Travis, how's it going?
Oh, it's going pretty good. You know, I had a pretty good weekend as usual.
Really? What'd you do?
Well, I don't know. I worked Saturday. You know, I guess you can call that good. But yeah. So I worked Saturday, and then after that, you know, waited for Carmen got home. Then we kind of took a little midnight trip to Bedford because we like just getting out every now and then.
Okay.
Went to Steak and Shake.
Steak and shake.
Love Steak and Shake.
Yeah,
I love the chili. The next day we went to church, and then after that we went to Carmen's parents, had some pot roast. So I ate pretty good this weekend.
Sounds good.
Then we went to Terre Haute all day, and just went to the mall, went to a few places up there, and then came home and I crashed.
Wow.
Not literally like into the off the road, but I was pretty tired after that. So how was your weekend?
Well, my weekend was pretty uneventful. I had a Halloween party to go to on Saturday night.
That doesn't sound very uneventful to me.
Well, I mean, there was no weddings to DJ.
Yeah, it's nice for a change, isn't it?
It was nice having the weekend off. But no, some friends of mine, Tyler and Jesse Reed, was throwing their annual Halloween extravaganza.
I wish I could have made it to one of them.
Oh, maybe sometime, maybe next year.
Hopefully.
Yeah, they always throw these just really great Halloween parties.
And Dad always dresses up. He always has to find that one costume every year.
Yeah, that's only because, the first year that I went, I was very lame.
Yeah. Tell them what you did. If there was ever a bad Halloween costume, this was it.
There wasn't a lot of effort put into this.
No, you literally used a past profession.
I was an emergency medical technician.
Yeah, all you did was just put on a stethoscope and...
I got an ambu bag too. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's so scary.
Yeah, so,
but you stepped up your game the next year.
I did, stepped up my game. I was, of course, the gorilla last year.
Yes.
And that was pretty good. This year, I was the great white shark.
How fitting.
And I was actually...
How would have I ever guessed?
Yeah, and I was actually eating a person, so...
Wait, like literally?
Well,
Are you a cannibal?
No, metaphorically. There was actually you put your arms through these little sleeves, and stick a pair of shoes on your hands, and it looks like the shark is gobbling, a person head first.
I don't know.
And all you can see is just feet dangling out the shark's mouth.
I don't know. Being a cannibal sounds so much better.
Yeah.
For the spirit of what the time of the year it is.
Yeah, but I did that though on a Saturday night, and I went to the rescue center Sunday, and of course it was so nice this weekend. It was still warm.
Oh yes,
it was nice. Leaves were really pretty much at their peak.
Gold leaves.
Had a busy day at the rescue center, so I did that and got home. Of course, you and I went, and Carmen and Kylie went out to eat Sunday night.
Got some Mexican food.
Had some Mexican food, and by the time I got home, it was about time to do it again.
Yep. Now, this is our Halloween episode. Now, we're going to tell a few little ghost stories of ours, or weird things.
Yeah, kind of tales from the dark side, from the mysterious beyond.
Ooh, the spooky. That was horrible. All right, well, speaking of Tyler and Jesse's party, let's start off with you. You have something that you'd like to tell everyone that you saw. Well, not just you, but everyone at the party saw.
Well, not everybody. There was about 5 of us. And, I think, the paranormal and just, ghost monsters, all that stuff has always, been, of interest to me.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and I would love to see a UFO.
Yeah.
And of course, anybody would say, I saw this UFO one time, and call them out, BS, you didn't. But I didn't see a UFO, I don't think.
You don't think?
But I did see something, and actually not just myself, but there was about a group of 5 of us that saw something in the southern sky in Lawrence County Saturday night that I could not explain. Had no explanation for it at all.
All right, tell us what you saw.
Oh, we're standing outside. Of course, people walked out there smoking cigarettes, whatever, and we're just standing there talking, and one of the people on our group goes, "Hey, what's that?" and points up to the sky. And up in the sky, and I really don't have any good comparison or way to describe it. I've told this story a couple of times this week at work. I always start off with, it was the brightest star I've ever seen. But that doesn't cover it. It wasn't a star. It was way, way, way too bright for that. It was an reddish orange in color, bigger than any other star in the sky. It was completely stationary. It did not move up. It did not move down. It did not move left. It did not move right. It was just, stayed completely still. So we watched it for like maybe 4 or 5 minutes. And what it did do, though, in the course of that short time, it began to either dim or, maybe it was going farther away from us, like it was becoming more distant, yet still staying in that same exact spot. So it would have to be just, completely moving in the complete opposite direction of us, because it actually never did actually change its position in the sky.
Interesting.
It kind of reminded me maybe of some type of, professional or maybe military grade fireworks. That was my first thinking. But, fireworks, when you shoot them up in the sky, what do?
They go, and then they kind of fade.
And then they come back down. They don't stay in the same spot. We have a thing here on Earth called gravity. Yeah. And things do not just hang in the air like that.
Well, it's not just exclusive to Earth.
Yeah, that's true.
You gotta share it to the rest of the universe.
So, I don't know what it was. Somebody said, "Look, it's a supernova." And I don't know if it's possible to see a supernova.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
And like you said, the first thing you thought when you say supernovas, champagne supernova in the sky.
We all immediately started singing Champagne Supernova. And, no. So that was a possibility. A meteorite. I've seen meteorites before, shooting stars.
Maybe it was a comet. But yeah, but
Of
the
course,
way
that would be similar to a shooting star, but even at that, okay, like the comet or the meteorite that blew up over Russia, it was streaking across the sky at an angle.
yes,
This was not
it
streaking
was
or doing
just
anything.
it was still.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, it eventually just completely disappeared, but yet still stayed in that exact same spot. So I don't know what to make of it. I've never seen anything at all like it. So, was it a UFO? I don't think so, but I don't have any idea what it was. But it kind of reminds me because I know just like a couple weeks ago, there was an experimental aircraft that landed in California.
Yeah.
It had been circling the Earth for like the last 2 years. It was on some sort of a secret military assignment. They won't say what it was doing. It was unmanned, of course. It kind of looked a little bit like the space shuttle, a lot smaller. And
Mm-hmm.
then I think we posted on our Facebook page earlier tonight. In Virginia, there was a rocket that exploded just like 6 seconds after it took off at Wallop Island in Virginia. I guess it was some kind of a new experimental type.
It was a rocket that was supposed to take up supplies to the space station. That's what that was the mission of
it was
the flight.
Orbital Science Corps' Antares rocket, which that's one of the new private companies that are doing some of the rocketry and stuff. I think there's about 3 companies now that are kind of working with NASA and developing different rockets and actually flying some supply missions to the International Space Station.
Well, and they're also working on trying to land on comets too.
Yeah.
And eventually they want to mine on asteroids and comets.
Yeah, there's some cool things going on in NASA now. NASA has kind of been stagnant for the last 10 years, ever since the end of the space shuttle program. So yeah, hopefully they'll get the bugs worked out of this. It didn't say if there was anybody killed. It just said that it was loaded with 5,000 pounds of gear for the 6 people living on the space station at this time, and it was it first flew just over a year ago. But NASA's official comment is it just, I think 6 seconds after takeoff, it blew up. So
yeah.
So anyways, there's all sorts of stuff that go on that we really don't realize out in outer space in our little neighborhood of the cosmos.
Yeah. Well, but you don't have to go out in space to find weird things.
Why, no, there's weird things right here in Indiana.
Yeah. Well, since you gave your little story, I'm gonna tell mine, and mine happens to be a ghost story.
Oh, how fitting for Halloween! A Dana and Travis show Halloween ghost story.
Yeah, and I just want to be clear that this really did happen to me. I did see this, and I am not exaggerating one bit. And actually, Dad can help support my claims on what I saw.
Okay.
Okay, so I can't remember when I saw this, but I was out at Grandma's, out in the country, and I think I was around 12 or 13 or 14. I was like between 13 to 15 years old, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
And see, outside the door we usually go into their house, they had like a little bench, like a little wooden park bench they had outside the front of the door. And I can't remember why I was out there, but for some reason I don't know if I just got done playing. I was on a bike or I was playing basketball or something. But I came down and I sat on that bench and I was just kind of sitting there, and where I was looking straight forward, and they have the little carport thing that they have. That was right in front of me, and then on the other side of that, there's a part of their yard. There's grass,
mm-hmm.
and then there's a shed. There's like a little barn storage shed. Something you can buy at like Orscheln's, or it just looks like a little mini barn storage shed thing. So I'm just sitting there, and I'm just kind of chilling, just kind of resting, And out of the blue, and I kid you not, this came out of nowhere, a white horse literally appeared right in front of me.
The famous white horse.
Ran across the yard and disappeared right into the shed. Like, it literally ran into the shed and disappeared. And I remember just sitting there and I was just thinking, like, what did I just see? And, I wasn't freaked out about it. I was just kind of sitting there and I didn't, it kind of didn't even register what I saw. Like, I was not bothered by it whatsoever. Whatsoever. And I saw that and I was like, I just saw a ghost.
Well, it's funny that you say that, and we've talked about this before.
And this is where Dad's gonna reiterate what I saw, because he kind of has something to go along with it.
Yeah, I have seen the exact same thing, and my experience, and really, it was probably I was a teenager at the time, and maybe once or twice after that, but mine wasn't exactly the same experience that you had, but I would like to see something out of the corner of my eye, and I would swear it was a white horse running across the yard.
See, that's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
And we've talked to Kylie, and Kylie, my sister, she claims she's seen it too. And my aunt Denise, which is Dad's sister, she claims she's seen it. And ironically, the only people who haven't seen it is Grandma and Grandpa, and they've been living there, for, 50 plus years.
Yeah.
And they've never seen it, but yet I've seen it, Dad's seen it, Kylie's seen it, Denise has seen it. I mean, we've all seen it, but them. It's just so weird though. Like I said, I was just sitting there, and just literally, I mean, I can't even explain like how it even manifested itself. It just kind of appeared.
Yeah, I know. I've looked it up before, and there's actually like in some superstition type,
or you can also say biblical.
Yeah,
as well.
That's I didn't think about that, but whenever you see a white horse, it means something. I know. Like I said, we've looked it up before.
It has to do with the four horsemen in the apocalypse.
Yeah.
And one of the horsemen rode on a white horse, a great white horse. Was described, and it's usually not a good thing if you see one. But I'm not exactly sure on what the lore of it is. But like I said before, but I wasn't worried about it when I saw it. I mean, it wasn't like a unicorn. There was no horn coming out of its head. No, it's just a regular horse. Like I said, it was normal size. There wasn't anything strange about it. But it was just really, really interesting. And I always try to think back. I almost don't even consider it a ghost experience, but even though it was, because it was that. Because it didn't even hardly register when I saw it. I don't know if that was kind of your experience with it was. I said, I mean, it's just like, wait, did I see that?
Well, Ian, and I've been kind of quiet here because I was kind of looking up some white horse mythology. Of course, in the New Testament, the four horsemen of the apocalypse included one rider seated on a white horse, and then one on a pale horse. The white horse carried the rider conquest, or traditionally pestilence.
Okay.
And then the pale horse carried the death.
Okay.
So, pestilence and the white horse, and then the death came after on the pale horse.
Well, there you go. I don't think anything like that happened, afterwards, but...
No, I was like, hey, you see that horse?
Well, but anyway, that's my ghost experience. There's other stories to be told. I know Carmen has a few, but for the sake of her, I'm not gonna tell the story. But let's just say there's something that she kind of is a bit involved with that I believe is much more than bless you is much more than what she thinks it is. I mean, let's just say it like this. I'm just going to tease it a little bit. I believe that she has an issue with a banshee at a certain place.
Banshees, they're kind of I know they're big in Ireland.
Yes. I mean, now that we're mentioning it, might as well explain the lore of it. The banshee is a creature that's been said that it's a creature that it wails. It makes a loud screech noise, but I don't think that's always the case. I think it manifests itself in other ways as well. Primarily, Irish families have it was big in Ireland, but the lore is that when someone is about to die, a banshee will show up to, let's say, take the person to the other side.
Yeah,
now,
I think the banshee is always associated with death.
Yeah, it's almost, you can almost say a banshee is like an angel of death.
Yeah,
you can almost say that. So, but there's other things that goes along with that. They say whenever a holy person is about to pass away, more than one banshee shows up. There's several because it requires more. But that's a little bit of lore. Well, I was telling Dad about now another story. Everything doesn't have to be creature-like. Kind of weird experiences kind of manifest themselves in other ways. And here's a classic one. And this actually happened near us over here in the Greene County. What's Lagodi and all that? What's that area?
Martin County.
Martin County. There's a little.
Davies County.
Davies County.
Martin County.
Yeah. Well, there's a little community called Odin. I read about this several years ago, and this is a story that took place in 1941, and it is said to be one of the oldest and one of the first documented cases of spontaneous combustion.
Yeah, I had not heard about this until you kind of brought me up to speed on it tonight. It's a creepy little story.
Yes. I'm not going to read through the whole thing, but basically what happened is that there's this farmhouse in Odin. It was owned by the Hackler family, and the husband they were getting ready to start planting season, and he went out and before he was leaving the house, he started smelling smoke coming from the second floor of the house. So he gets up there and he noticed that there's a blazing wall of fire up in the second floor of the house. So they call the fire department at the time, and they come down there, and of course, they saw it, and they put the fire out. No big deal. They got up and left. Well, then they get a call again as soon as they got back, and they're frantically calling them, telling them that the house is on fire again in a different spot of the house. And they said that the fire, and of course the firemen got back to the house, and they went up to the top stairs, and it was a bedroom that no one went in that day. And the fire started within a mattress that was in the bedroom. It wasn't on the outside, it was within.
So the fire was actually inside the mattress.
It was inside the mattress.
Didn't they say it was a feather? Was it a feather bed?
It was a feather bed, and there was no tears on the actual mattress itself.
So how did they know it was on fire?
Because it was glowing, and there was smoke coming from it.
Okay.
And they said as they saw this fire burning, the other things in the room just started, everything just started catching fire in front of them. Wow. They said that it got so bad that the firemen's coats that they were wearing started catching fire with them still in it.
Well, and back then, I don't know if anybody's seen old pictures of firemen like in that era. Of course, all sorts of rescue and EMS and fire gear has come such a long ways. There wasn't much fireproofing with fireman's. Basically, he was wearing a rubber coat.
Yes.
That melted.
Yeah.
And burned.
Yeah, not very good for fire prevention. But yeah, so of course the story goes is that
did any of the firemen get hurt, or did it say? Or
it didn't say, but all I know is that they said that it went on for the rest of the day. They said fire just kept popping up all over the house, and they eventually said that everything just stopped. All the fires went out, and that was it. Nothing else happened. Nothing else happened. Some things had. They said afterwards there were burn marks and all over the house, and supposedly, the house is if it's still there, they said you can go there and see all the burn marks in the house.
Wow.
But yeah, I remember reading about that a couple years ago. Yeah, and that's close to home.
And didn't one of the periodicals that you're reading from say that was possibly one of the very first
yes, they said
examples?
Yeah, they said it was one of the first documented cases of spontaneous combustion. Not human it could have been human combustion.
Yeah, I mean, they said the firemen, of course, I guess the clothing is called fire. In spontaneous human combustion, the people themselves actually.
Well, but they said that they're, maybe this goes to show maybe that the spontaneous combustion doesn't start in the people. They happen to be in the place where that happens. Maybe it's the fire forms around them and then they catch fire. It doesn't start from within them. So
yeah.
So who knows? But yeah, interesting stuff. And while we're going into all this, why don't you talk a little bit about some other things like something that are big, hairy, and tall.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll get to that. Well, I want to talk about one thing just really quick. Kind of on the Halloween thing.
Okay.
We talked about the banshees, but just in a kind of a ghoulish kind of a example.
And we keep talking about this stuff. I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight.
Just here, and this is actually very current in the news. The gentleman in Russia who.
This is creepy. I don't care what any of you say. This is just downright insane.
Yeah, he's basically a body snatcher who dug up the remains of young girls, stole them out of their coffins, took them back to his apartment, and had like a little tea party with them.
Yeah, he dressed them up in clothes.
Yeah.
And he claimed that he was talking to them.
Yeah, he said Anatoly Moskvin, a 47-year-old terribly troubled schizophrenic, broke into the graves of 29 young girls and dressed them up in stockings, makeup, knee-length boots, and made them look like dolls.
Imagine walking in on that tea party.
1 minute you're zooming around the galaxy, and the next you're having tea with Mrs. Nesbitt. Toy Story.
Yeah. This is Nesbitt.
Okay, and he placed musical boxes inside their rib cages. But the police said that it didn't appear that anything was sexually motivated.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, it said that he loathed sex and thought it was disgusting. But of course, he's been doing this for like the last 10 years. And it was like he had some kind of, or he thought he had some kind of a relationship with these girls, and he was wanting to mummify them because he was waiting for science to find a way, so they can live again. So it's just a very
creepy story.
Yeah, just creepy. The only way that could be any creepier would be to throw in a few clowns. But other than that.
Which, if any of you listened to the last week's last episode, I mentioned the Fisher's Clown mystery. Just a little update on that. They did find the person, and they did allude that there will not be any criminal charges pressed upon him, and he was to do no more than what he was doing.
Since when is it against the law to be a clown?
Yeah, and stand on a street corner.
Unless you're John Wayne Gacy.
I mean, I think people are just generally creeped out by clowns.
Yeah, and
I'm telling you, Stephen King did wonders on our psyche
You know, and I'm sure there's a college course somewhere
on clowns.
on creepy clowns.
Well, you know that there's the clown school.
Yeah.
Where you go to be a clown. You know,
Oh yeah.
There's the clown school.
And I got to get back to this. We was talking about the banshees and stuff earlier, and the white horse in Scottish folklore.
Oh, are you gonna tie them together?
Well, the Kelpie was a deadly supernatural water demon in the shape of a white horse.
That doesn't make me feel good.
Well, it's a water demon though, so maybe it come up the river or something. I don't know. In Norse mythology, Odin's eight-legged horse was a great horse. But anyways, okay, so that's the horse stuff. But back to what we were talking about also, the big, tall, hairy...
Yeah, we're at the 30-minute mark, so... Okay. Do you just want to continue on into this? And,
yeah, it was...
we'll have an extended first part.
Yeah. We was going to talk about Indiana Bigfoots a little bit.
Yeah, because we were requested to talk about Indiana Bigfoots.
Yeah, a good friend of mine at work, Jeff Ray, he's kind of another fellow Coast to Coast AM fan, and we were talking about the Bigfoots and stuff at work one day, and he suggested that we talk about that. So this is kind of a shout out to him, and the Animal Planet series Finding Bigfoot, or as we love to call it, Not Finding Bigfoot.
Not Finding Bigfoot.
Because they never find Bigfoot, but yet it's like a dichotomy. The name of the show is Finding Bigfoot, yet they never find Bigfoot.
You know, Bigfoot is one of those things. It's so hard to want to believe it. But then again, you do.
Yeah, but okay. And you know what my thing about Bigfoots in general is? About 5 years ago, the then thought mountain gorilla population in equatorial Africa, I forget what it was, but then one day some scientists stumbled into this one area, and you know what they found? Excuse me. They found like 3,000, they were actually lowland gorillas, that they didn't know they had. So if nobody knew these 3,000 gorillas were there, who's to say that maybe there was not a small population of other things that we didn't think were there?
Yeah, that's true. Oh, by the way, that they discovered those gorillas by Google Maps.
Really?
Yes. I read an article it was last year. They said that it was like the 20 things that scientists have discovered using Google Maps.
Google Maps.
And that was one of them. They
Wow.
discovered that area of the Congo.
Yeah.
Because they discovered that using the satellites were using Google Maps.
They just Googled them.
Yep, they just Googled them literally. But yeah, I thought that was a little side note on that.
No, yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So the known lowland mountain gorilla, or I guess it must be the lowland gorilla, because you can't be lowland and mountain gorilla.
Okay.
But anyway, it almost doubled in size overnight. From what they thought they had.
Yeah, that's a good point that you bring up there, and but I don't know. I think the problem with the Bigfoot Sasquatch today in America is that in America is that everyone has seen one, but no one has got one on camera, and if they got one on camera, it's all blurry.
There are some. Of course, the famous Gimli Patterson film that was taken out west. The famous Bigfoot that's just walking, that kind of looks over his shoulder and continuing. And the guy shot it on 8mm movie projector film, and it's kind of shaky, but that's probably the most famous photograph of Bigfoot.
Yeah,
but and the rest of them, are pretty grainy, and sometimes it's like looking at clouds. He's like, you see that little shape there? That's his head, and this part's his shoulders, and
yeah. And another problem with it is I actually know someone who used to dress up in gorilla suits and run around in woods?
Man, that's a real good way to get shot.
I know, but I seriously know someone who did that, and they did that around the Bedford area.
Really?
Yes, he did that in the Bedford area, and he actually made a video, like, and he put on YouTube, was Bigfoot spot in Bedford, and it's literally just him, you can see him just, and you can see him running. I know none of you can see me doing the motions, but I mean, but if he wouldn't have acted silly, if he was walking by, you would have probably thought, and
the trick to faking a good Bigfoot film is you can't. This would be really quick. You don't want to show too much.
Look at that! It's a Sasquatch.
Holy crap! He's taking a doo-doo. What was that called?
I can't remember.
There's a whole series of YouTube videos of Bigfoot sighting parodies, and it will make you laugh until you cry.
There's one in particular that Dad just plays for over and over, and it'll make you cry. It's so funny. But anyway,
And I was thinking that, but I didn't want to say it. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's a Sasquatch.
Sasquatch. Okay. On a more serious note,
yeah. On the serious note,
the Finding Bigfoot people, they came to Indiana last season, and there was one. They did one in northern Indiana.
so that's what I heard howling in the woods. It was those people
Yeah,
with their
Bobo. Dude, you just saw a Squatch.
You saw a Squatch.
That's the big guy, Bobo.
But it's so funny though when they get like the town together for a town meeting, and they're all like, "Who here has seen a Sasquatch?" And then you see these people, they slowly raise their hand, and then the one guy's, "You sir, what did you see?" And he's like, "Oh man, I was over there by my pickup truck one day, and then me and my little boy were just like, oh man, let's go out fishing, man." And then they would go out fishing, and I'm like, "Oh my God, look over there, there's like a big little hairy thing staring right at me." And he looked right at me, and then he's walked away.
Right. It was real late, about 2 o'clock one morning. I just pulled in to the trailer park, just got back from Steak Shake, and there no Bigfoot staring out underneath the underpinning on my double wide. This podcast is taking a very bad turn.
This is gold podcasting. but
Okay, finding.
but I'm being serious.
I am too.
Like we said earlier, not finding Bigfoot. This is how every episode of that show goes.
So on the not finding or finding Bigfoot episode, they was in northern Indiana, and that was a really hokey. I think these people were driving down the road. Just so happens they were filming outside their window and just happened to catch this. Probably your buddy in the gorilla suit walking around, and it did not look like anything like a Bigfoot. It looked like somebody in a gorilla suit.
They do it. They seriously do it.
But now they also come down to the Morgan Monroe State Forest, which would be in the Bloomington-Martinsville area.
Yes.
And I think I don't remember anything that really stands out from that one. But I am looking here at I'm on a website that's got some sightings. This is particular sighting here I'm looking at was from the year 2012. In the spring of the year, I think it was in May, and it was somewhere in Morgan County, which is again the Martinsville area. But these people were camping, and they kept hearing something large moving behind their camp in the middle of the night, and then the guy gets up about 2 o'clock in the morning to relieve himself, and he looks over at his SOB and he sees something standing beside it, and the thing's kind of swaying back and forth, which I find odd because in watching and finding Bigfoot, it seems like a lot of times they do kind of sway, like they're standing still, but they're just kind of.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's kind of a primate, like you see in the, in a zoo or something. Sometimes they tend to kind of sway back and forth. So that seems kind of legit. Said he was like 10 feet tall, or 8 to 9 feet tall. So the guy grabs his flashlight, and the creature ran, and they couldn't track it. So they get up like the next morning. Or I'm sorry, actually, 30 minutes later, they heard these loud knocks, which on finding Bigfoot, that's one of the ways that they think that Bigfoot's um, communicate. They would take a stick or something and hit a tree real hard, and they do knocks, or a baseball bat. Yeah, or they'll take a couple pieces of wood and just snap them together.
Yeah.
So these people here in Indiana, they heard some of these knocks, and yeah, there's a knock right there. And so they went on for about an hour. Then the next morning, they found supposedly some partial footprints and stuff. So yeah, there's just different things. That's fairly close to here.
Yeah, and I have a story. This was this year. It was supposedly a sighting in Martinsville.
Okay, same area.
Yeah, it says. And I'm going to read what it says here. It says, on January 16th, 2014, this guy was out. They were squirrel hunting off the west bank of the White River, across from a power plant. And they said it was getting late in the afternoon, and they noticed something large, shaggy, hairy thing that was squatting near the riverbank. And he said at first he thought it was a bear, but he said that he watched the thing, and he said the thing stood up, and then he said it looked right at him, and it made a sound and turned and disappeared down the riverbank. And then of course they saw, and the guy asked him, he's like, "Well, what can you describe what you saw?" And he says, "Yes, I can. It had dirty brownish red hair, which looked as it was matted and littered with debris. It stood between 7 to 8 feet tall and had a build of a professional bodybuilder, except its arms was much longer than ours. And it also appeared to have a slouch as it stood up." And the guy apparently said that he went back down there. Another guy went down there, and he said he believes that he found some tracks of something, supposedly. So
cool. Hey, I've got a good one here.
Okay. All right.
Okay, August 1979. This is in northeastern Martin County, which is Shoals, Bedford, down that area.
Oh, this.
Yeah. 19-year-old Andy Keith had an early morning encounter. He's 6:30 a.m. He's an employee of the Martin County Highway Department. He's heading to work through the wooded hill country in Shoals, Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
And according to the October 7th Vincent Sun commercial, he just stopped a gentle rise in the road for a short distance from...
All right, come on. Pull it together.
He had just stopped a gentle rise in the road a short distance from his trailer home, where he saw...
Oh, we are so good.
When he saw a strange creature cross the road 200 feet in front of him. He appeared to be half man, half beast, not unlike the legendary Sasquatch or Bigfoot. The thing, it was 6 to 7 feet tall, shoulders about 3.5 feet wide, covered with long black hair, streaked with gray, and a strangely sloping head with human facial features. Its arms were ape-like and hung to mid-thigh. The odd creature appeared to be in a hurry, looking neither left or right, and taking the road, which I assume means crossing the road, in about 3 5-foot-long strides. It stunk, and he could smell it. And when asked whether Keith's neighbors in the sparsely populated hill community near the Martin-Lawrence County line were skeptical about his unlikely encounter, they believed me. They just weren't sure what I'd seen. But now here's the kicker.
All right. Lay it on me.
The following Sunday, Keith and 2 Bloomfield men were searching for some trace of the thing's earlier visit when Keith discovered fresh footprints in a bottomland cornfield about a half a mile southeast of his home. Some corn stalks had been eaten off in the area, and prints were at the edge of the field. And there's a picture there of the footprint. Maybe we can
Oh my!
do something to put that on. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I wonder who the two Bloomfield men were.
Yeah, I'd like to know.
That was 1979. So yeah, I mean,
So if any of you are hearing this and you might know, let us know.
Yeah, we'll be interested. Like I said, that was in around Shoals. Now I do got one other kind of cool thing. If you want to hear about the Loop Guru.
Yeah. This is not exactly Bigfoot, but this is something different.
You never know, though. I mean, this is about some folklore around the Vincennes area.
Which, I'm just going to say this right now. If there was a creature living in Indiana, it would be in Vincennes.
Slam. Okay.
Bam.
Okay, the Loup Garou, which that's basically French for werewolf. Okay.
Loup Garou.
Loup Garou. The southwestern section of Indiana around Vincennes had a very heavy French influence during the 18th century, as fur traders were moved along the rivers, from north to south.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
If I catch any man looking at her, I will cut him like a pig. All of you name that movie. Sorry, that was Almost Heroes with the legendary Chris Farley.
Yeah, Almost Heroes.
That was my interpretation of a French man threatening another guy.
Yeah, a psycho Frenchman. A psycho jealous Frenchman.
All right, go.
Okay.
Continue.
So the Loup Garou. So this is around Vincennes. The old French settlers in Vincennes had to deal with the Loup Garou that prowled at night along the Catalinet Road south of town, attacking hapless wayfarers. And the French believed that one became a Loup Garou by failing to attend Mass and the sacraments for 7 years. One such story was reported in 1935 to a historian. An old French woman who had lived her entire life in the Vincennes area reported that many years ago there was some kind of a wild animal running loose out by the old French graveyard. And it said that there were several animals who were not really animals at all, but they were people who had been bewitched. John Vachet claimed that one of these animals sprang at him one night as he was going through the old graveyard, and he had quite a tussle with this animal. He lived down by the river, by the site where the President Good Samaritan Hospital is located. There at in the George Rogers Clark Memorial area.
Mm-hmm.
There was a number of apple trees along this street, and it was well before the time of street lights, so the place was very dark. And as one night, as Mr. Vachet was going home, this wild animal jumps out, attacks him. He cuts the animal with a knife during the struggle, and the object turned into a man. He gave Mr. Vachet his name and address, which says that the man claimed he was from Evansville, and requested that he not tell anyone for a year and a day, or he would turn back into an animal. When the animals were injured to the extent that brought blood, the charm was broken. I had never heard that.
That is weird.
So the French guy shanks him with his knife. The guy turns back into a man and says, "Listen, dude, don't say anything about this for a year and a day, or I'll turn back into a werewolf. I'll come back and I'll look for you and I'll stick you." No. So yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is. That's weird.
Another hazard to night travel in the area, it says, was the will-o-wisp, or the dancing light, which would lure the unwary traveler to drown in the swamps. The French believed that these were the souls of those who died without baptism and unable to enter heaven and had to wander the earth.
Interesting.
Wow, so
Yeah, we got some good stuff tonight. Yeah.
Have you got any more Bigfoot stuff over there?
Nah, nothing really much worth mentioning.
Well, I do have one more.
Yeah, but I have some news stories too. That.
Okay, well let's do one more Bigfoot, then
yeah.
we'll get right to the our news stories for the night.
Alrighty.
This here is another up in the Morgan Monroe State Forest in the Bloomington area. This is from 1983. A college student who's attending Indiana University was living on Low Gap Road, which is on the Morgan Monroe State Forest area. Let me see here. This sounds kind of hokey. So one evening he was visited by a couple of students and had stopped by to celebrate the start of the new school year, and thought that would give them an excuse to drink a lot of alcohol. I see this story going downhill real quick. Okay, they're hammered drunk.
Hey man, I saw a Bigfoot thing.
About 1:30 a.m., the young man that lived in the house decided to walk out on the deck, and probably to pee, and to take a look at the moon that was lighting up the forest. The moon was really bright, and he saw a possum waddling through the underbrush, heading toward the trash cans, which is like possum steak and shake.
Yeah.
Open all night.
Man, what's the deal with steak and shake tonight? I want some steak and shake.
Yeah, steak and shake. Okay, so he looks down the trail back at the house, and he's squatted down and watched to see if he can make out who it might be. He sees a figure walking down the trail. Okay, he bends down, see if he can see who it is. As it comes closer, he sees this built like a football player wearing a fur coat. So he watched the figure. He recognized it wasn't a person. It was too big, had no neck, and the walk itself was unusual. So he goes back in the house all panicked, grabs a gun, and it says it was about 30 feet his way. He was about 30 feet away, and without any hesitation, his ninja-like skills jumped in. He started shooting and spraying. Spray and pray. Spraying bullets at the shape.
I wonder if that worked.
It seemed to slip into the woods, and he could hear it crashing through the heavy undergrowth. The student ran back in the house to announce to his guests that he had shot someone or something and to stay in the bedroom. The two guests, who, remember, they're all in there drinking. The two guests said they heard the shots, something ran by their window, and the man told his guests that they would wait for daylight and see if, and then they would look for a body.
That is drunk logic.
They told him to.
Let's not call the cops.
They were not. Yeah, we're not going to call it.
We've been drinking way too much.
Wait till we sober up in the morning, and we'll have some biscuits and gravy, and we'll go out and see where's the body. Okay. They told him that they were not going to look for anything, and they told the student they weren't going to look for anything, and they were out there. So he thinks he shot and killed a human. He thought that if he had shot and killed a human, that he would bury it in the forest and not tell anyone. At daylight, he walks out of the house, starts looking for the spot where the shape was standing. He sees several shell casings lying on the ground and can see where the grass was mashed down and something very big had been standing. He also saw where it had run through the underbrush and was very easy to follow. The trail headed down a ravine, and all of a sudden it joined into a very well-established trail that followed the ridge beyond his home. The trail would go straight, and all of a sudden it would make really weird jogs. This curved several times. He had stopped at the ridge behind his home, and he saw several human-like footprints, different sizes. One print was easily over 20 inches long. Looking around, he figured that whoever was standing on the bare spot had a perfect view of his home, and whoever stood in the spot could also see everything coming and going from his home. He never found the body to bury.
Oh man, I was way too drunk to look. Oh my.
Wow.
Gotta love drunk logic.
Okay, so there's some pretty good Bigfoot stories.
Oh yeah,
Indiana hillbilly Bigfoot stories.
Like I said, that's the plot of every episode of Finding Bigfoot. Hey man, I was going out my trailer, and I saw this thing staring right at me, and I was like, oh man, look, I think it's Sasquatch. Oh, I think I saw a snatch squatch.
So I walked out, and I was over there by my old junk Camaro. There was this big thing standing there. Had a pair of Jensen speakers in his hand. He's trying to rip me off, so I shot him. I was going to bury him in the woods if I killed him.
Oh my.
Won't tell nobody.
Well, everyone, on a serious note, I do think that there could be Bigfoot, but I think it's really hard to really tell for sure nowadays because everyone has a phone on them, everyone has a camera.
Yeah,
I just find it very, very hard to believe that we have not found one by now. But I will say that we did not confirm that giant squid exists either until last year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's possible. I mean, everyone always thought the giant squid was a myth. I mean, but they discovered it. They found it.
Well, and maybe these Bigfoots are like shapeshifters. Maybe that possum that was waddling toward the trash cans was a Bigfoot just 5 minutes before.
All he wanted was Steak and Shake.
Yeah. No, personally, I'm not a believer nor disbeliever. I think there's a lot of things out there that we still don't know, and so who knows? Just
like Loch Ness Monster.
You want to believe?
Like, I do think the Loch Ness Monster is possibly still there, even though some people, scientists, do say that if it were there, it might possibly be dead by now.
And you know the bad thing about the Loch Ness Monster, you know, the famous Loch Ness picture, of course, we all now know was a hoax, and so that kind of diminishes, for years, anytime you thought of the Loch Ness Monster, just like when you think of Bigfoot, you think of that the 8mm film of that thing walking, through those, that dry branch with all the trees down and stuff.
Yeah, and then no one's really solved the chupacabra situation.
Let alone a baby chupacabra. Yeah. No, baby chupacabra. It was like some little baby Bigfoot.
All right. Well, we have a couple news stories, so here's the news segment. All right, everyone. So here's some news for you. This is a throwback to a story that was on a couple podcasts ago. So, ex-dictator Manuel Noriega was suing Activision, the video game company, for his portrayal in their game Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Of course, the case is that he thought he was wrongfully depicted as a drug smuggler, a murderer, and whatever else. He thought he was wrongly depicted.
Yeah, depicted him in a very bad light.
But anyway, so of course, Rudy Giuliani's law team was taking on the case. But update to the story. I guess Judge tossed out the suit against Activision. So wow. Activision is no longer being sued by ex-dictator.
I am shocked.
Man, he had a case going on there.
I guess it was howbeit weak it was, but
oh gosh, he had no chance.
No,
at
I mean
all.
It was.
I mean, what was he gonna do? Get money from it and still use it in prison? I mean,
yeah. I mean,
what was his goal?
He was bored. He's probably one of them that sits around. He's probably got a law degree that we paid for, sitting in prison, and
yeah, probably playing PlayStation, playing Black Ops 2, because they all get PlayStations and stuff now.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So he's in prison playing PlayStation. And they're like, oh, here's this game Black Ops 2, and guess what? Lo and behold, look, there's me. So yeah, so there's that. Do you have a news story?
Yeah, I do have one. I thought it was kind of cool. Um, in Guyana, the country, did you
Okay.
see the big Goliath tarantula?
Yes.
This was the size of the puppy.
Yes. Do you have the updated story on that?
Well, of course, this scientist, I have no idea, Piotr Nazreki, he encounters this huge spider, and he took photos of it, and of course, it was, quickly became an internet sensation. So, the huge spider, generated this massive buzz, and this one Harvard researcher has come in, for a firestorm of criticism because he killed the spider.
He's receiving death threats.
Because he killed the spider.
I mean, it was a puppy-sized spider. Imagine walking and seeing that thing.
Yeah,
in your kitchen while when you wake up.
And in his defense, he didn't just. It wasn't like you're walking through your kitchen and you get a flip flop and smear a spider all over your linoleum.
Did he grab a magazine?
Yeah, no, but he was collecting and preserving these physical specimens, as an integral, irreplaceable element of the biological sciences at the university where he was working at. So he was out collecting specimens. I don't want no puppy-sized spider running around, live. You gotta kill it. But I wonder how you did kill it.
Yeah, without damaging.
Yeah, because you wouldn't. I wonder if.
I mean, like I said, you can't just squash it.
Maybe you just sprayed it with Raid or something.
Anyone got a can of Raid?
So yeah, he's come under a lot of criticism for killing this South American. Oh, it's actually it's
a gargantuan bird-eating spider.
The Goliath tarantula, or it's also known as the South American Goliath bird eater.
Goliath.
The thing eats birds.
Yes.
And I was, looking at a picture of it. It is a massive honking spider.
Yeah, and they said it has nail length, like nail length fangs. Imagine getting stuck with one of those.
Wow.
Just a little side note on since this is a Halloween episode, spiders are spooky.
Yeah.
So I have a story with a spider.
Okay.
And you were involved in this one kind of too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, it was So.
Oh, okay.
So at one of Dad's old houses, whenever I used to stay night there, I was sleeping in the bed in one of the side rooms. In the middle of the night, one night, I woke up, and I see this gigantic spider on my knee. And, I'm telling you, this thing was the size of a full-grown adult palm hand.
Wow.
I mean, it was...
a big wolf spider.
I mean, it's from what I believe to be a wolf spider, which wolf spiders...
They get pretty big.
They get big. Yeah. And all I know is I remember the thing bit me on the knee, and I flung it off, and I remember yelling, and I remember you came in there, and, you're all like, what's going on? I said, spider bit me.
Something bit me.
Something bit me. No, but really, something bit me, and you saw what it, my knee.
Yeah.
Something bit me, and I ended up getting a staph infection. I mean, my knee swollen to the size of a softball. I mean, not just a softball. I mean, well, I don't know. It's probably a little bit bigger than that. I mean, but it's swelled up.
And it doesn't surprise me. One of my old ambulance partners, we were actually cleaning out in the ambulance garage one time, and he thinks that he got bit by a spider. And he actually missed work one day. He went to the emergency room, and his hand was so swollen, and he had this big nasty boil-looking thing.
See, that's what happened to my knee. It had like a big, huge boil thing on my knee.
I assume the side of the body, but But he went to the ER and they lanced it.
I'm surprised they didn't lance mine.
And I guess the most nastiest discharge come out of
Oh,
that.
I'm sure.
And actually, though, he said they cultured it, and they said that there was E. coli in it.
Really?
Which in yours was staph.
Mm-hmm.
So it's spiders,
Carry.
even if they're not poisonous, they can carry some nasty germs.
Yes. All I know is it sucked. and we never found a spider.
Yeah, I've never seen that spider again.
I mean, but something had to bit me. I mean,
well, you said it was a spider.
Yeah, I didn't dream it up. Something bit me, and it was big. It was enough to make my knees swell up. Huge.
No, just spider bites could be nasty. Whether they're poisonous or not. So
I remember even the teacher time. I was in the 6th grade when that happened, and they didn't want me coming to school because my knee was so big and nasty, and it had a really nasty discharge to it. It was bad.
Wow.
But I remember I was told not to come back to school until it got better, or unless it was covered up. But yeah, it was. It talk about scary. Wake up in the middle of the night, there's a huge spider on you.
You know what spiders don't like?
What?
Hedge apples.
Hedge apples.
Have you ever heard that?
No.
We were actually talking about this at work today with some people that I know that this one woman wanted to know where she can find some hedge apples to put around her house. Of course, this time of year, critters are coming in. It's getting cooler out at night. Mice come in when it gets cooler because they want to still be warm. Spiders are big this time of year also.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess one of the old remedies for keeping, and it's not just spiders. I think a lot of insects get a hedge apple and slice it up and put it around your house, and insects do not like it.
Did not know that.
I didn't either.
You want to know what else doesn't like hedge apples?
What?
Or what spiders don't like?
What spiders don't get what?
Really good graphics.
Really?
Yes.
That is a shame because I know where you can get some awesome graphics.
Yes, I do too, and that is Sidewinder Graphics.
That is correct.
Yes, Sidewinder Graphics. He can give you the best decals and wall decorations, stickers, whatever you want. He can do it.
Oh, for sure. I've known Carly for a long time. Does excellent work. Does a lot of semis and different lettering. For if you got a business and you have a business vehicle, you probably need some kind of lettering so people will know who and what your business is. So
yes,
check out Sidewinder Graphics, and they will fix you up with some quality vinyl.
Yes, that is awesome. All right, everyone. I think that is a show.
Wow, it's a show already.
Yes, it was a creepy, spooky show.
Ooh.
Because Dracula, he's always like blah blah blah.
We always try to keep things kind of interesting as much as we can.
This is a good show.
Yeah, and of course we were talking about clowns a while ago.
Yes.
And I think we even touched on cannibalistic stuff.
Yes, we did.
Did you hear the story about the cannibals that captured the clown and cooked him and ate him? These two cannibals did. They put him in just like you see in the cartoons, the big pot, and they boiled this clown. And after they ate him, one cannibal looked to the other cannibal and said, "Did that clown taste funny to you?"
I'm just sitting here. I knew that's where that was going the entire time.
Did that clown taste funny to you?
Well, there you go, folks. You got the scary stuff, and you got scared by Dad's bad joke.
Oh, that's a classic. That's gold. That is gold.
Yes, it is. Well, everyone, we hope that this podcast will go gold. Yeah, so you can check us out on Facebook, and you can email us at danaandtravishow@gmail.com, and you can tweet us. We're not on Twitter a lot, but you can tweet us if you want to.
Yeah, have at it.
Yeah, so we hope you enjoyed the show, and give us some feedback. I feel like this was a really good show.
Definitely, it was fun.
Yes,
we like to have fun.
Yes. So, Dad, you want to take us out of here?
I sure will. So, until we talk to you on the next podcast, You be careful now.